LTC Heroes Live by Experience Care. My name is Peter Murphy Lewis. I'm your host. This is the first time I am speaking to VR experts. I got a fantastic duo here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We at the Innovation Summit. I'm talking to Rich McFall, who's Business Account Manager at Nebraska VR, and Joshua Redfield, Business Pathway Specialist at Nebraska VR. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good to
much.
be here.
Let's start off with you, Rich, because it's the first time I've ever talked about virtual reality in long-term care. Tell me why you're at this convention.
Well, spoiler, VR is actually for vocational rehabilitation. We're a state employment program working with individuals with a disability, ultimately trying to help them find, maintain, and keep a job, and ultimately just connect in places like this with the LTC to some candidates.
I think it's the first time that I remember talking to someone from vocation rehabilitation in long-term care. How did this conversation get started? Why are you here? Who do you know? How long has this been brewing?
Yeah, actually, it was Tracy Lichty with Newcastle Retirement Center in Omaha. She was already connected with one of the local school districts, and they're actually the one that introduced me to her. And it's been a phenomenal partnership ever since.
So, Josh, tell me a little bit about how this works. Talk to me a little bit about the mechanics. What is your role, and then what are you doing from the skilling side to make sure that there's support for the needs, the entry level needs that they have at long term care, at least in this first relationship.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just talk a little bit about the grant that I work with, but the Career Pathways Advancement Project, it's designed to partner with businesses and really open up opportunities for everybody working for them to upskill. And if they've never identified before, or they've always had identified as having a physical or a hidden disability of any kind, we're able to help them move forward in their career if they choose.
Can you give me an example? Let's try to bring it down, maybe even a real example. When you mean skill up, walk me through where they're skilling up and then where you all come in and able to support somebody with a disability.
Yeah, so it could be a lot of different things, but it could be someone at a very entry level, that I know Rich referred to it, but someone washing, clothes and wanting to get different credentials or different ways of just advancing their career there. Or it could be someone that just started out at an entry level position like that, and they decide, you know what, I actually have more to give than this. I would like to try to be a CNA.
Mm.
I would like to challenge myself and do something more than what I ever thought I could do.
So you find the financial resources to support them with that upskill, and then comes in there. You also come in. Give me an example of someone from your organization. Do you already have case studies of someone who's working in long-term care that's come from Nebraska VR?
Yeah, I know one of Tracy's favorites is currently working in laundry. That really just started by inviting that job seeker in for a tour. Her face lit up when she got to the laundry area, saw that there was a ton of clothes that needed to be folded, and she enjoyed it. She's now has employment there, and she's reliable. Staff rely on her. She's seems to be a great candidate for her.
I love that example because I go to 10 to 20 conventions a year in long-term care, and staffing is always, it's the first thing they talk about. Second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth is 1 through 10 staffing. But this is a unique solution that I think that is out of the box uh way to approach an issue, which is we can't get people to show up to work, and it seems like you've plugged it in with someone who's happy, and it's a perfect match.
Yeah, that actually brings me up to another story with the coffee cart attendant. Tracy was looking for somebody to just come in a few days a week and clean the countertops, fill the lids, stock cups, that kind of thing. It was also kind of, with just cleaning with COVID and whatnot. But actually, after that individual was done for their day, maybe the next day they weren't working, they were missed. And next thing we know, she's asking for a second person. So it's kind of neat to see that something that started out just a few days a week is now 7 days helping her out at her peak times of residents.
So if there's somebody listening to this chat and their ears perk up and they're like, oh man, I need to talk to Nebraska VR. Walk me through what those steps look like, where it's a win-win situation for everybody, including the job seeker.
Yeah, I would say for starters to go to vr.nebraska.gov/business. Um, Ultimately, what that'll do is connect you where I'm one of 5 business account managers throughout the state. And you'll see each one of us on there. There's even a fancy Google map that has all of our counties, and get connected with that business account manager. And then from there, that's kind of just us meeting with the business, probably doing a tour, just kind of getting to know that business in a true standpoint. So that way, when we are working with a client, we ask those questions about, hey, transportation, or maybe that past education piece, those kind of things, to make sure that they're vetted in a way for that business before we just send a referral.
I know this might be outside your wealth of knowledge, but do you know if these programs exist outside of Nebraska?
They do. It's a statewide thing, and if I'm not mistaken, there's I want to say it's in the 70s as far as number of vocational rehabilitation across the state. I quarterly, me and my team meet with Iowa VR, Missouri VR, and just kind of touch base every quarter just to kind of see what common businesses we're talking to, current trends. It's a fantastic program.
I'm certain anyone who's watched my interviews before can tell that I'm really, really interested in what you all do. And we've been talking for 15 or 20 minutes before we went live. I envy your job. I think that working on the two sides of the market that fill such a unique need is beautiful and inspirational. What's your favorite part of the job, Josh? And when did it click to you and be like, yeah, I have something awesome I'm doing?
Probably for me, it was probably after the first couple partnerships we created, and I just got to see from their perspective of what this could be. And they're like, wow, this is a unique opportunity. They never even really heard of VR up to this point. And they're like, yeah, we want to take this on. And they just advertised it like crazy. And, yeah, we just started making connections and getting referrals.
Mm. Tell me, what could you potentially handle in terms of demand? Like a year from now, if you all are going to do a session here in an hour or so, and if you have 10 facilities who come knock on your door and start that conversation, would you be able to supply and help them with job seekers a year from now? Would you be able to ramp up to 10 asks?
I would say start that conversation now, because working with the school districts and getting those students and other job seekers involved in just a tour of your facility, start that now. Because for one, if somebody doesn't know about those opportunities, they're not going to have a specific goal in that industry. So maybe they start with CNA, maybe that works for them, maybe they want to try something different. But long-term care has such a variety of positions, um, that essentially it's kind of a one-stop shop for employment's sake.
Gentlemen, to wrap this up, I'm going to ask this question to both of you. Obviously, you all have some metrics, you have some KPIs inside of your organization that you guys are held up to, but I'm interested in the intangible feedback that you've received, whether it be from a job seeker or from Tracy or from someone inside of your organization about how proud they are of what you've been doing of making this match with long-term care. Take me to the moment. Feel free to give as many details of when you're like, oh, this is good right here, what we're doing. I'll start with you, Josh.
Yeah, some of the best feedback we've gotten, and I wish I would receive more of that myself, but my counselors, they'll come back and they'll get, someone either talked to them on the phone or sent them an email after they've, gotten through the training that they needed. And they're like, this thing changed my life. They're like, I don't know if I would have even thought about the opportunity or have ever been brave enough to attempt doing this if we weren't alongside them, helping them out.
Love it.
I think it's going to go back to that same laundry story, and I don't want to, necessarily say the same thing, but even me going in for another tour and seeing that individual in laundry, just all these piles of folded clothes, and then of course being in laundry, it smells good in there, and she was very proud and she wanted to stay on task. And it's knowing that she did not need her job coach really anymore. They were kind of off to the side, just hidden in the background of sorts, but just knowing that she's enjoying the work that she's doing, it's totally worth it.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. I guess I'm going to refer to you. Yesterday, I did a talk around personal branding. Your personal brand is how people refer to you when you're not in the room, I'm going to refer to you all as purpose fulfillers. I feel like you are helping people figure out the purpose in life, and it's beautiful. Thanks for joining us here, and thanks for taking your time to talk to me on LTC Heroes.
All right. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.